This video is a continuation from my book. This actually is not from my book, but it's quotes, so I'm going to include it in that same series. I'm going in alphabetical order, letter G. We're doing Robert Greene. He's a contemporary writer. He wrote some masterpiece book. His masterpiece book was The 48 Rules of Power. That is a great book. Every man should read that. And if women are interested in power, and probably everybody should know about power, so everybody should read it. It is a true masterpiece of a book, 48 Rules of Power. I've been in plenty of difficult situations in my life, and I found that book helpful when situations are rough. So that's good. Okay, his other books are okay. His seduction book I thought was stupid. His creativity book, or Mastery I think it was called, that was pretty good. He flips a little bit and gets a little goofy, but there were parts of that were really solid. That idea of doing an apprenticeship, spending time with the master, imitating the master until you figure out the field, then adding your own touch. That's all totally freaking accurate, and people should hear it. He's got a lot of YouTube videos. He's a smart guy. I have learned a lot from him. He is worth studying. There's plenty of things he says that I don't agree with, but he is a smart guy. Okay, like he loves Nietzsche. I think Nietzsche's a jerk. He's a homo, and his hero was, Napoleon. Okay, give me a break, all right? All right, there's much better heroes to have than that. Okay, he also wrote a book called The 33 Rules of War. I read that many years ago. That was a decent book. There was some good stuff in there, but I was kind of young when I read it. I don't think I fully grasped it at that time. Okay, let's get going here. Robert Greene, his advice on writing. He says a good writing prompt is what's making you angry or pissed off. Only write about what excites you, because excitement sustains your energy to finish the project well. High-level creativity requires lots of knowledge and being willing to freely work through the content and to organize it so it seems better. To write a good book, it should have a big goal. It should be ambitious. It should have a larger-than-life, even mythic component. Yeah, I'll give him credit. 48 Rules of Power, that's a big theme. Mastery, that's a big theme. Seduction, that's a big theme. Strategies of war, that's a big theme. So he's had the big balls to write about some big themes. That's good. So have I. I've rewritten the medical textbooks. Okay, I've rewritten the art books. Okay, whatever you write, it has to be exclusive to you. It should have good structure. It should be well organized. You should take the time to organize the chapters so it flows logically from topic to topic. When the brain is engaged, a person learns 2 or 3 times faster. Everybody's seen that. Somebody who's really into what they're doing, they learn faster. They get good faster. Your contact with reality is your power in life. If you lose it, you are in trouble. If somebody can control your perception, they can control you. And that's what all the midstream media stuff is about. They're trying to shape your perception. That's what the public schools are about. They're trying to turn you into a chump, into a loser, into somebody who's poor and weak and gullible and conformist all your life. So you have to resist that. You have to say, no, I want to be a well-informed person. I want to be a thoughtful person, able to make intelligent decisions, okay? And you have to accept the fact that whenever you hear something as common opinion, you should assume that that is wrong until proven otherwise. A perfect example is if you go to the grocery store and you look for toothpaste, 95% contain fluoride. Fluoride's rat poison. So 95% of the public is so stupid that they would brush their teeth with rat poison. So that's why you should not take popular opinion. You should usually expect that it is wrong. It is the conformist brainwash opinion. It's seldom correct. Okay, to make a big achievement, you've got to have a lot of motivation. You've got to be desperate to achieve. Ability to understand what motivates other people is a key to success. By the way, that desperate to achieve, that's very good. That's like the Alfred Adler inferiority principle, the idea that you're pissed off because you screwed up at something else or a previous attempt at this field, and now you want to prove that you could do it. And that burning desire, that inferiority principle, that desire to achieve, to redeem yourself, big motivator, okay? And it's like the Dombrowski theory of personality, disintegration, reintegration. You fail in one area, instead of just being pissed off and sad, you say, well, I'm going to take that energy left over that I'm pissed off and frustrated about and put it into something else and try to make that good. That's how you achieve something good. And that idea of being intense and wanting to make it happen, that's called hyperexcitability, which Dombrowski has described as being highly characteristic of overachievers. They take it personally. They take it seriously. And that's why they're so energized to succeed when they try again. Okay, 90% of what matters is nonverbal. It's not the words. Words are used to deceive people. Yeah, that's true. Don't look so much at what people say. Look at what they do, okay? And what a person does, that's what is really going through their heart. People lie all the time. If you think you have a sense of destiny, others will sense that about you. Act like a king to be treated like a king. To achieve high-level goals, you need to control your emotions. Be open-minded, be patient, and be fearless. So basically, having a sense of destiny means that you say to yourself, well, I am going to be such and such a thing no matter how long it takes me. And that's important because a lot of times in life you'll have disappointments, setbacks, failures, rejections, and you have to have that sense of I must do this to push you through and energize you, because otherwise it's very easy to get smacked off the path. Okay, Robert Greene continues. You must value learning. By the way, most of what I'm talking about comes from his lectures or from his book about mastery. That's the stuff that I'm covering right now. You must value learning above everything else. This will lead to all the right choices. Yeah, and I was kind of like that when I was in my radiology residency. I walk in there the first day, and they have a seating arrangement whereby in the front row, we used to look at radiology films on a view box. On the front row, only the attending physicians, the attending senior boss docs, and the senior residents sit in the front row. I said, screw this, I'm sitting in the front row, because I would go early and I would sit in the front row. As a first-year resident, I didn't care. I wasn't very well liked in my residency because I was such an aggressive, dominating guy. For example, we had rotations through all these hospitals, including these rich private practice hospitals. I went one time and I hated it. At the rich private practice hospital, the residents aren't allowed to do anything. They're not allowed to touch a patient. They're supposed to just sit there in the back, and it's really a waste of time. I traded all my time at the rich hospital. I said, I'm not coming back to this place. Screw this. And I went to the poorest hospital where they would let me do all these complicated procedures. By the time I was a second-year resident, I was doing unassisted cerebral angiograms of the brain because I wanted to get good at doing procedures. I ended up being an imaging-guided surgeon. So what I'm trying to say is I really didn't care about being popular. I kind of considered, Northwestern kind of inferior to me. I belonged at Harvard. I only went to Northwestern because, my mother was sick with cancer and I wanted to be around her. I thought she was going to die within a couple of years, so I wanted to be there. And Harvard had told me, just sign the paper, we'll take you. And I wished I had gone to Harvard. So I was sort of pissed off I was at Northwestern. I felt it was like kindergarten for me. Anyways, getting back to this. You will opt for the situation. If you value learning above all else, you will opt for the situation that gives you the most opportunity to learn, particularly with hands-on work. It's good to be a master because they are unique, great, irreplaceable. It's good to try to be the best version of yourself because that is good and it is energizing. Win through your actions, never by argument. Yeah, most of the time you're going to be sort of the low man on the totem pole in the hierarchy, so arguing's not going to get you anywhere. They're just going to say, screw you, you're the low life, and they don't care what you say. The truth, one of the things you'll learn as you get older is the truth, doesn't work as well as it should, okay? In a family, emotions will often overwhelm the truth, and even in corporations, businesses, hospitals and stuff, power plays will overwhelm the truth very often. It's amazing how often that happens. I mean, it's good to have the truth, but it doesn't work as well as it should, that's for sure. Most of the time, there is no jury. If you get in front of a jury, they're more likely to care about the truth. But in most situations, they're behind closed doors, and the truth is not as powerful as it should be, but it's still good to have. Okay, becoming a master, this is my own words, is like climbing a hill. When you get to the top, you can see more clearly. Okay, next, Robert Greene. Mastery is intense focus by time. Masters retain a childlike excitement about their field and have a playful approach which allows them to make hours and hours of hard work alive and pleasurable. Understand, it is the choice of where to direct his or her creative energy that makes the master. Okay, I would say that's true because I know tons of doctors that have real high IQs, but they don't really give a rat's ass. They just sort of show up, generate their billing codes, go home, enjoy some time with their family, invest in the stock market or something, or their hobby. They don't see medicine as having any real potential to do anything. You just do what you got to do to get your billing codes, make your money, and go enjoy your life. That's sort of the most common attitude I see. Okay, now he says, your emotional commitment to what you are doing will be translated directly into your work. If you are excited and obsessive in the hunt, it will show in the details. If your work comes from a place within, its authenticity will be communicated. You must have mastered the basics and possess a solid enough grasp of the field so that your mind can focus on higher matters. Yeah, you kind of got to be a master of all the basics so you can begin to contemplate the subtleties, the controversies within the higher level stuff, if you want to be a high level creative person. Okay. It is always best to choose a task that is slightly above you, one that will be considered ambitious on your part. Yeah, so like other things I did, and I recommend anybody do if they want to become an intellectual expert at a high level. I would always volunteer to run teaching conferences, and I would always want to run teaching. See, most people hate that. For example, I dated a girl who was second in her medical school class. I trained in residency with a girl who was second in medical school class. And I know another girl who was second in their medical school class. Every single one of them didn't give a shit. What I mean by that is they had zero ambition, okay? They didn't care about me. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be world famous, national famous, the best. I always expected that from myself. I was pissed off that I got injured in my wrestling career, and I was like, I am not going to screw up this medical career. I'm going to be the best I can be at whatever I do. And I knew from the beginning I had this encyclopedic memory. I could be great. So what I'm trying to say is I was always pushing. I always wanted to present. Like most people, like a lot of these girls, the girl second in her class in med school, she would take beta blockers because her heart would race too fast when she was giving a talk. She was embarrassed. She was nervous. I was like, put me in front. You know, like Michael Jordan in the third period with a minute left on the clock. Give me the ball. I want to speak in public. I want to prove what I know. Okay, I was done on my boards a 4.5 hour test, an hour 10 minutes with a perfect score. I wanted to be in the middle of it. I wanted to do the most difficult procedures. I wanted to go in the most challenging situations because I wanted to get good. Okay, it is always best to choose a task slightly above you. I would always, do really difficult topics for my presentations because I wanted to master the subject, okay? Like a typical thing is in my internship. I refused to do what I was assigned as a presentation because I wanted a more difficult topic, and so they gave me a crappy grade. I would take every lumbar puncture. A lot of the residents were kind of squeamish and didn't want to do lumbar puncture, spinal taps. I would say, give me the case. I'll do it. I didn't care. I'd stay late all the time doing procedures. That's how I got good at doing procedures. Like I was awkward my first time trying to start an IV, and I was embarrassed about that because I had not had to start many IVs before that time. So I went to the blood draw lab and I said, let me just draw bloods. And I just started drawing all the blood on all these patients. So I got really good then with IVs. I would start them in people's forehead, in their neck, in their foot, anywhere. But that's how you get good. You have to suffer that little humiliation, then get lots of experience, then you get good. High-level creativity, let's see. The higher the goal, the more energy you will call up from deep within. Think of yourself as an explorer. When you are emotionally engaged, you learn 2 or 3 times as fast. Okay, Robert Greene continues. High creativity requires high-level knowledge and an open, agile mind. Creativity is by its nature an act of boldness and rebellion. You are not accepting the status quo or conventional wisdom. You are playing with the very rules you have learned, experimenting and testing the boundaries. The world is dying for bolder ideas, for people who are not afraid to speculate and investigate. Yeah, maybe in some fields, maybe in tech, not in healthcare and medicine. They want you to shut up, generate your billing codes, and shut the hell up. Okay, and again, this is from Mastery, and this is great advice. This is really an excellent perspective here. And he's got very good lectures on this too, Robert Greene. Okay, make creativity rather than comfort your goal, and you will ensure far more success for the future. You must know your field inside and out, and yet be able to question its most entrenched assumptions. You must always work with deadlines, whether real or manufacturers. The mind rises to the level that you require. Yeah, I know, like if I'm trying to finish a book, and I'm only going to have a bunch of days off until the coming Monday or something, I'll work 12 hours, whatever it takes to get the book finished. And so, normally you wouldn't have that much energy to work on it, and so having this idea of manufacturing a deadline, real or otherwise, that energizes you to get stuff done. Every day represents an intense challenge, and every morning you wake up with original ideas and associations you push along. If you don't have such deadlines, then manufacture them for yourself. Yeah, you should always be trying to suck up information from somewhere. Like when I'm in a car, I'm always listening to an audiobook. You could listen to a podcast. You can have little notes that you take when you're at stoplights or something and write stuff down. Throw those in a box when you come home, and then whenever you get a free moment, start reading through them. Whenever you have a free moment during the daytime, learn something on the computer. At night while you're eating dinner, watch internet videos. Keep learning constantly, and then keep updating your files on whatever you're interested in, on diabetes, on hypertension, on stroke, on coronary arteries, whatever it is. Okay, and then you'll keep on raising your level of knowledge because you don't ever stay the same. Knowledge, I think it was Drucker who said this, Peter Drucker, the efficiency expert, knowledge is always increasing or it's decreasing. It doesn't stay the same. So you must be learning something every day, otherwise you're going to decline in your knowledge, and that's what it takes to keep getting better. So anyways, that's part one of quotes from Robert Greene. I hope you found that helpful.